So if you are here to listen to the candidates who are running for the CMS Board of Education, you are absolutely in the right place. And we are thrilled to have two seasoned journalists moderating this discussion. We have Toni Mecia from the Charlotte Ledger and Glenn Burkins from QCity Metro. I'm going to hand it off to them shortly. But before I do that, I want to just quickly review what we do at the Election Hub, just for anybody who may not know about it. The Election Hub is a nonprofit. It provides free, nonpartisan, comprehensive, and hyper-local information to help you voters, you the voters, all of us voters, with Mecklenburg County election choices. So that you can follow us at theelectionhub.org and use the Election Hub when you vote. You can also subscribe to our email newsletter. On the next slide is just some quick housekeeping. We will be recording this event and we will make it available to registrants and the general public on YouTube after today. We plan to go in sequential order, starting with District 1 through District 6. And we're going to start by asking each of the candidates in each of the districts to introduce themselves. They'll also have 1 minute of wrap up at the end, and they will have 1 minute to answer all of the questions from Toni and Glenn. If anyone has any feedback on our process or any other feedback that you'd like to share about the forum, please don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, I am going to hand the virtual mic over to Toni Mecia.
Great. Thank you, Charlitta. I'm Toni Mecia with the Charlotte Ledger. Thank you all for tuning in. Excited to have a series of discussions over the course of the next hour about the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. We've got a lot of the candidates here, and just really looking forward to this. And Charlitta, thank you for all of your work putting together the Election Hub. Also need to tip of the hat to Bree Chrisman on the Charlotte Ledger's team for a lot of the behind the scenes work, kind of getting this all done. So thank you to you both. This is, as Charlitta mentioned, is a collaboration between the Charlotte Ledger, QCity Metro, and the Election Hub. I am joined today in moderating today's discussion by Glenn Burkins. Glenn is the publisher of QCity Metro. That's a publication that provides news and information to the Black residents of the Charlotte region. Glenn, welcome.
Thank you, Toni.
So today we're talking about the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. As Charlitta mentioned, we have another discussion on Thursday that will be Charlotte City Council candidates. But today we're talking about the Board of Education. There are 9 seats on the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. On the November 4th election and in the early voting, voters will choose candidates for 6 of those seats, the district seats. There are 6 district seats, 3 at-large seats. The at-large seats were elected a couple years ago. They are not on the ballot this time. So today we're talking about the district seats. And I know we've got a map. We'll go through and talk about which each of those districts are. These candidates that voters will be elected to 4-year terms. And these are nonpartisan elections, which means that although people, of course, are registered as Republicans, Democrats, or unaffiliated, that information is not going to be on the ballot. So it's a nonpartisan election, and voters will choose 1 candidate in each district. Let's see. I should also mention you can find out a lot more information, as Charlitta said, at theelectionhub.org. We have the Election Hub has information on all of the candidates in Mecklenburg County, including the Board of Education, Charlotte City Council, and Town Council races in the 6 towns in Mecklenburg County. And as a bonus this year, it is also profiling candidates in the Gaston County towns of Gastonia, Belmont, and Mount Holly. That's theelectionhub.org. So thank you all for joining us, and thank you also to the candidates. You know, the candidates, they spend a lot of time at events like this, and you know, I'm sure some spirited disagreements at times among candidates and among school board members, but I think it's important for people in our community to recognize that these are people that raised their hand and said, we want to get involved, we want to make our schools better. And so I just want to express appreciation to the candidates for both doing that and for being here tonight. So that's all I've got. We're going to start tonight with a discussion of District 1. District 1 is, as you can see there in the purple on your screen, is in northern Mecklenburg, up the northern towns, northern Mecklenburg. It's represented by Melissa Easley, who is the incumbent. She has two challengers, Bill Fountain and Charlitta Hatch. All three of them are here tonight, and you'll hear from all of them. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started, and just ask each candidate to spend a minute telling people about themselves, why they're running, and what makes them stand out from their opponents. And we're going to go ahead and start with Melissa Easley.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am Melissa Easley, and I am your current incumbent in District 1. I am a former educator. I've been an educator for 20 years, and 10 of which of those years I've spent CMS. Between teaching at CMS and my students, I've spent 15 years in CMS. I've got two kids, one in elementary school and one in middle school. And I have been an educational advocate, specifically in North Carolina, since 2017. I helped organize the marches in 2018 and 2019 for advocacy and for teacher support. And I have continued to do that. And I've stood on being a voice for teachers and helping be transparent for the board, and being able to have that communication skill between what's happening in our schools and to the parents, so that they understand what's going on and they can get more involved with our schools. So I've done that. I've been a voice for teachers, and I have been a very strong advocate on the board for holding people accountable, making sure that questions are being asked that move our needle forward in order to hold our students accountable.
That's time.
And I guess the last one is what separates me is I am the only one that has board experience, school experience,
That's
teaching
fine.
experience, and parent
Okay.
experience.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next, we'll go to Bill Fountain.
Oh, hello. Hello, fellow citizens. I'm Bill Fountain. I'm a Christian, husband, father, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, business manager, and a North Carolina licensed teacher. For 10 years, I taught school. For too long, CMS has put social and a political agenda ahead of academic excellence, leaving about 2/3 of the students not meeting the state standard. This agenda undermines family values, tolerates code of student conduct violations, and steers children toward a victimhood mindset. I think it's time to focus on what works. That's better behavior in the classroom, strong character formation, and the basics, reading, writing, and math. I have the leadership, teamwork, and in the classroom experience to be an effective change agent in preparing students for success, not leveling outcomes or social promotings. Also empowering parents, promoting school choice, and upholding traditional values in the classroom. And that includes character and virtues
That's
that
time.
are paramount. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And the final candidate for District 1, Charlitta Hatch. Who you are, why you're running, what sets you apart.
Good evening, everyone. I am Charlitta from Charlotte. I am proud to say I'm raising the third generation of CMS students in my family, and I think that's important as we think about the amount of people that move here every day, 157 to be exact. There are three things I will share with you. One, I am currently getting my doctorate. I've been studying for the last 5 years why families are not choosing CMS. I think that voice is critical as we think about the state of public education and how do we make sure that we're reclaiming families back into our public school system. Number two, I am currently the Chief Data and Analytics Officer for the City of Charlotte, where I'm responsible for our business intelligence and artificial intelligence strategy. And I think every board needs someone right now with AI expertise as we think about the way it will transform not just how kids learn and how teachers teach, but also how the district will run overall. And then lastly, I will say that I believe that we're in pandemic type times now. And people are waking up every day, not sure how things are going to impact them day to day. And I think we need to have more than just advocacy. We need to have a solutions-oriented crisis leader. I have
Okay.
also
You're
a
at time.
solutions-oriented and crisis leader at the table. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Glenn Burkins, first question.
You're on mute, Glenn.
Sorry about that. Let's start with a basic question. You're all running to represent District 1. Tell us about District 1 and any unique challenges that that particular district faces in terms of educating its children.
Let's see. Let's go with Charlitta Hatch first.
Thank you. I'm a daughter of this district. So I went to Davidson IB, which is at the very top of the district. I met my husband in the 10th grade at Vance High School, which is Julius Chambers. So before there was Mallet Creek, there was Vance, and that was at the bottom of the district. So I understand the diversity of North Charlotte, Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson. I'm raising my kids here. And so I believe that when you think about the growth that's happening in District 1, it's exponential growth in the county. And so having someone at the table that is strategic and also thinking about how do we get ahead of that growth so that we don't have the overcrowding in schools and that we can make sure that it's balanced for district and district to district, also so that it's equitable. We currently have schools that are A schools and we have schools that are F schools. And I think in an area like District 1, that is unacceptable. And so when we talk about the data and the success that we've had, we have not heard our District 1 rep really talk about the disparities that's happening and how do you get down into the demographics and what are we going to actually do to close those gaps.
All right, let's go to Melissa Easley.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, you're all running to represent District 1. Can you tell us what makes District 1 unique? What, in terms of educating the children of your district?
Well, we have some really unique. I love District 1. First of all, I've worked in all districts at this point, and I love District 1. And the reason I love that is because we have such a diverse community. We have, top SES, we have low ACS, we have high performing schools, we have low performing schools, we have Title I schools, we have non-Title I schools. These are all things that make up our community. A lot of people think that North Mech is all high SES and high income level, and that's not true. And so we need to really make sure that District 1 is looked at equitably, that is looked at to make sure that we don't have families passing one school to go to another, that these pop-up neighborhoods that have happened over the last decade, that they are efficiently zoned for the right school that's close to their neighborhood so that they can build their communities as well. I think that's our biggest challenge up here, is making sure that all of this growth for the last 5 to 7 years, Huntersville has been the top district in the state for people moving here. And so we've had a lot of people kind of being new neighborhoods and things like that. So making sure we've got a clean state, we've got everybody where they need to be the most effective and to build their own individual communities.
All right, Bill Fountain.
Well, thank you.
What are the special characteristics of District 1?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. One of the things I've been doing is, obviously, I'm sure all the candidates have been knocking on doors and talking to voters. And one of the things that there's several things that they have come back to me on is that lots of parents have been concerned about what I call the SEL, or the social emotional learning curriculum, but they're saying, hey, it's too focused on I guess you would call it on feelings and group identity. And they say, no, I don't want to get involved in that. And they don't want their children involved in that. So they say, I want to pull them out. And I tell them, hey, the things that we need to do instead of doing that is to focus on character development, on the virtues like integrity, resilience, self-control, caring. Those are the type of things that I think will help teachers teach better. It will also be, in some families, they may not be getting that at home, and that would be something that would be, I think, be motivating for our children. The other thing is that parents that I've knocked on doors, they're also saying they're concerned about the social promotions, that they're pulling away from being merit-based and leveling outcomes, which is eroding some of their students' initiative, their work will. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll go ahead and ask the next question. One of the things that the school board does, besides setting policy for the district, is hiring and evaluating the superintendent. The current superintendent, Crystal Hill, has been on the job in a permanent capacity since May of 2023. First question is for Bill Fountain. What do you think of the job that Crystal Hill is doing? And how would you evaluate that?
Well, I think she's done one of the first things that one of the most important things that we've had a steady superintendent, the same superintendent for a while, which is a very big plus. The other thing is that when she came in, she talked about a lot of things about high expectations. Unfortunately, I think that has been kind of moved off a little bit. And the things that bother me is that, like I just earlier mentioned, was about the social promotions, because that came up from Arthur Griffin, the county commissioner, when he was talking about where she's such a low, like a good percentage of children were being promoted and actually being graduating. They weren't able to be enlisted, enrolled, or employed. And that is something I don't think is right. And one of the things to do that is bring merit associated base into that, because you get accountability. And if you look at the Mississippi Miracle, where they retain the students in the 3rd grade, if they're not proficient in reading, and they have had great success later on all of these children, particularly the minorities and the socially economic challenged.
All right, thanks. Charlitta Hatch, how would you evaluate the job that the superintendent is doing?
One thing I'll say is I mentioned earlier, I'm getting my doctorate. I've talked to over 250 families in the district. I've never heard any of them say that they don't support social emotional learning, or that they feel like there should be merit over equity. So just want to make sure that that's clear. But as far as the superintendent goes, I think that it's very important to understand what she's been charged with. As someone who served as an appointed member by City Council for 6 years and the chair and vice chair on the quasi judicial board for the hiring, firing, and promotions and transfers for the police and fire department, I know that you can have an objective view of what you think someone's performance is, but until you understand what those performance goals are, it is hard to give a view. I would have to imagine one of her goals is to raise the student outcome and achievement scores. And for that perspective, I believe that the data speaks for itself, that she's doing a good job and that she's moving the district in the right direction.
Okay, thanks. And Melissa Easley, you've probably been in on some of those evaluations of the current superintendent. How do you evaluate the job that she's doing?
You're on mute, Melissa.
Overall, she's doing a fantastic job. I'm very proud to have Dr. Hill at the helm of our team. One of the things that she has really done, which has not been mentioned, and I don't think people realize this, is she has definitely brought stability to the district. She has not only taken the lead and set those high expectations that she demanded from the beginning and continues to demand every single day, but she then helped reorganize too. And what she likes to put it in, it's my favorite way that she says it, not only to make sure we have the right people on the bus to get CMS moving, but that they're in the right seat, and that you can have great people, but if they're not in the right position, then none of this is all going to work together. And so that was something that really struck home with me. And she has done an amazing job of going out and meeting those expectations and setting those expectations and helping clean up the district. She has helped on the back end, cleaning up some of the extra positions that people were overlapping in, and was causing some confusion and things like that. So the first year was all about that, which I thought was a fantastic place, on top of all of the things that she had been doing on the front end, having a student advisory committee, having a parent advisory committee, all of those things.
Okay. All right. Thanks. And, we're just about out of time for District 1. I know we could keep talking about this for a long time, but if you could, each of you, please take 30 seconds and just give us the final pitch on why voters, when they walk into the voting booth, should vote for you. Melissa Easley.
So I am your current incumbent. I have worked very, very hard for your voice to be heard, not only for teachers, but for parents. I have started, I was the first one to start a monthly newsletter. I have monthly meetups every month since I've been on the board in 2022. It is really important to me. I'm running on transparency. I'm running on that teacher voice, because we still need someone who is able to make those connections in the classroom and to give teachers a solid voice on the school board. I work very, very hard. I have done my best. I have held people to a high standard. I have asked questions that people don't want asked, and I have gotten answers to make sure that our funding is being used the best of the ability. There is a lot of work to do. We have made some great strides, but I think there's still more to do, and I'd like to be part of that. I started it. I'd like to help finish it.
Okay. Thanks. Bill Fountain, 30 seconds, final pitch on why people should vote for you.
Well, I think the voters have a clear choice between myself. We have a conservative versus 2 liberal and people running for the school board. And I wanted to center, like I mentioned, our social emotional learning on character, the integrity, resilience, kindness, and those type of things, which is over and above of what's going on in the, like I mentioned, the DEI type of things, which is a priority that seems to be with my two opponents. I also believe that in preparing students for the future, and that's got to be based on merit and achievement, and they support leveling outcomes and even say that meritocracy is a myth. And lastly, I support tax-funded school choice, where they say that that should not be. And because parents need to have an option to be able to take their children, because sometimes their family values are being eroded. And parents have told me that, and that's the reason they want to move out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Final word will go to Charlitta Hatch.
Thank
30
you.
seconds on why folks should vote for you.
Thank you. Welcome to the 21st century. So hopefully everyone heard the dog whistle language that was spoken by one of my opponents today, and we are in 2025. Both of my opponents are former classroom educators. I'm the only one endorsed by the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Active Educators. I think that group understands that while there are other classroom educators on the board, that the skills that I bring from a business and technology perspective, as well as family voices, are going to be critical as we need the district forward for the next 4 years. So it's not about what was done in the past, but really thinking about what skills do you want at the table, advocating for your teachers and for your families over the next 4 years. Thank you. I'm Charlitta from Charlotte.
All right. Great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate all the candidates from District 1 joining us tonight. We're going to go ahead move on to District 2. I would also point out that we have a bunch of information. There's a bunch of information at theelectionhub.org on the different candidates in District 1, 2, and beyond. All right. So if the candidates I guess we have one candidate for District 2 who's with us tonight. Shamaiye Haynes. Let's see.
Shamaiye.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Shamaiye.
That's okay.
We'll get it
You're
right.
fine.
Shamaiye. Got it. My apologies. And this is an open seat. Your opponent is Juan Hall, who is not with us tonight. He's a 53-year-old diesel mechanic and college football coach. So we will talk to you for the next few minutes. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and why you're running and what sets you apart from your opponent?
Sure. My name is Shamaiye Haynes, and I've been an active constituent on the West Side, which makes up most of District 2. District 2 starts at the top of Steel Creek, sort of hits uptown, and then stops right at the Mount Island area. I've been a excuse me. I'm losing my voice, and I've been chased by a dog as well. So let me start again. I've been an active constituent in District 2 for about 10 years. And it started with having 2 children in a Title I school during Project Lift. We don't have enough time on this show to talk about Project Lift, but I was new to Charlotte at the time, and I found it very difficult to navigate the school system. I also found that even as a parent trying to advocate in the school, that there were many, many barriers around that. So long story short, I turned anger into passion, and I began working with our current school board representative, and started the Charlotte Community Think Tank, and just began my advocacy from there.
Okay, I think we're at time. Glenn, why don't you go ahead and ask a question?
Yes, I'm going to start with the same question that I started with before. What are the unique characteristics of District 2 that some of the other districts may not encounter?
Well, I think one of the things is that for a long time, District 2 was the blight of CMS. People often talked about District 2 as if the only low-performing schools in CMS were all in District 2. But today we're a different. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. Alexa, stop. Pardon me for that, y'all. Goodness.
Modern life. That's modern life.
This is getting better and better. where was I? So anyway, this has to be the most trumped up interview I've done yet. Excuse me, you guys. So District 2, in other words, we've seen some major strides happen, mostly due to a stable superintendent, a newer school board that has really cared about the entire district and has focused on student, the SOFG and those things. We're unique because although we're a changing district with gentrification rolling in, we still have quite a bit of students of low socioeconomic status. We are a broad mix of Black and Brown students and even students in between. But for the most part, the people of District 2 really want to be heard.
Okay, all right, we're at time. Glenn, you want to follow up or do you have another question?
Yes, if you could change one CMS policy, something that would impact the education of our students, what would that be?
I don't know if it would be a change to a policy. I think CMS has some very strong policies. I think the devil is in the details and the execution of those policies. So what I would say is I think we could stand to strengthen some of the policies that we have or expand on what we already have and sort of think less about the policy itself and the operations of CMS and how we're really executing on a good thing. You may recall a few years back, CMS actually won an award for the policies that we have. So I think we could strengthen our discipline interventions. That's not really affecting policy, but it really speaks to how discipline interventions take place in schools. We've made some strides in terms of lowering suspensions and things like that, but I think now is the time to take a look further at interventions as well.
Okay, and the final question, if you could just sum up for us in 30 seconds, why people should vote for you when they enter that polling booth.
Well, they should vote for me because I've been consistent in my advocacy for education. I've expanded from just being an angry parent, knowing very little about CMS and policy, to working side by side with my current school board member, establishing various coalitions since about 2017. And just the experience alone, serving on the bond oversight committee, taking the initiative to be on the Title I advisory committee, and really working to build within the system while also having a strong voice for people who haven't been as heard as they might want to be. Just experience alone.
Okay, well, great. Shamaiye Haynes, thank you very much for joining us. You're running for District 2, Western Mecklenburg. You do have an opponent, Juan Hall, diesel mechanic, college football coach, who's been talking about discipline, literacy, and parental involvement. He's not with us tonight, but we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, we'll go ahead and move along. There is, just in case you're wondering, going in numerical order, there is a District 3 election, University City there in the orange. There is only one person running for that, Gregory D. Rankin. He is the incumbent. He's a 50-year-old nonprofit program director and the vice chair of the board, but he's not opposed and he's not here tonight. So we'll go ahead and move on to District 4, which is East Charlotte and Eastern Mecklenburg. Looks like Mint Hill. It's in the blue there. And we have 3 candidates running. The incumbent is Stephanie Sneed, and she's being challenged by Jillian King and Robert L. Edwards. Let's see if you could all put on your cameras. And we'll go ahead and start with Stephanie Sneed. If you could please take a minute, explain to us who you are, why you're running, and what sets you apart.
All right. My name is Stephanie Sneed, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the current chair of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. I am a current CMS parent. I am a wife. I am a labor and employment attorney, but started my career in the area of child protective services, and I'm a proven leader and advocate in our community. what sets me apart from my candidate is that I have taken the time to really invest in understanding the needs of the community, as well as understanding the role of the board. I have served from everything from a active CMS volunteer to PTA member, Girl Scout leader of one of our schools, the vice chair of my voting precinct, served on the education committee of the Black Political Caucus, served on the CMS Bond Oversight Committee, served as the chair of the Black Political Caucus, and then finally, served on the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education, as well as a part of the West Side Education think tank. So I really have spent my time investing in understanding not only my role as a parent, but understanding the role of the board, as well as what the community wants. And that includes from everything from parents to the business community.
All right, thank you. Next up is challenger Jillian King.
Hi, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Jillian King. I am a mother and a wife as well, and an advocate for my community. I think that one of the things that sets me apart is my drive. It's that I have never taken no for an answer in my life, and I think that there are a lot of things that CMS is maybe not being as creative or resourceful about, or pushing for as hard as they could. And I think that the big things for me are safety. I'm actually at the CMS first ever safety summit. I'm very excited about it. But even being here and seeing the resources that are available, there's so much more we can be doing. So safety, communication, community involvement, those are my big things. And I'm like ready to fight for it.
All right, thank you. And then the third candidate for this District 4 seat, Robert L. Edwards. Why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us why you're running and what sets you apart.
You're
I think
on mute,
you're on mute.
Robert.
You're on mute.
Okay, I'm sorry
There
about
you
that. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Robert Edwards, and of course, I'm running for District 4 Board of Education. And currently, I am a teacher with CMS, special education teacher, compliance facilitator. I also am involved with the school improvement program for the school that I'm employed with. And I am a former higher education faculty member. I used to work for was it John C. Smith University and was it John C. Smith University, Shaw University, St. Aug University. And also, too, I'm an independent contractor. I work for mental health agencies. And currently, I've just had a good, awesome milestone. I just helped the organization accomplish its accreditation with Joint Commission. Of course, Joint Commission is one of the highest accreditation agencies in the behavior and mental health, behavior health and mental health. And also, too, I am a policy maker. I write policies, make a lot of decisions for those with disadvantages, with mental health needs. And what else about me? I am also a person that is passionate, forward thinking. I'll always try to think forward, and of course, try to help individuals to accomplish their goals. And also to run for the board of their education. I am what sets me apart is pretty much just with all those abilities to combine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're at time. I'll go ahead and take the first question, and it's on this question of safety. I think as a parent, a lot of parents, they send their kids off to school, and I think you'd have to be, blind not to see, the news of really horrible things that are happening, school shootings, and there's news accounts of guns and knives, and CMS is a large district, of course, and it's probably unrealistic to think we're not going to have any kind of problems in when you have as many schools as CMS does. But the question is, how would you evaluate the kind of job CMS is doing in keeping students safe, and is there more that CMS could be doing? And we'll start with Jillian King.
Thank you. I'm itching to answer this. Okay, so I would say that my evaluation of it is that there's definitely more they could be doing. I'm not going to do a letter grade, but there's a lot we can be doing. Firstly, with the threat of immigration services, there are some added assurances we can give families as far as the ways that we follow up with them and support families who are being affected, and some sort of extra barriers we can put in the way even amid compliance, to ensure that our families and our students are being kept safe at our schools. So that's there's safe zone resolutions that Wake County has and other counties in our state that we could be doing that add assurances. Additionally, the peer-to-peer incidents that we have are insane, way too many. And a lot of that's going to be prevention and then how we follow up, making sure that our policies for discipline are restorative, because every student, no matter what they've done or who the aggressor was or whatever, is our student. And it matters that we follow up with them and use restorative practices and increase our mental health supports and the ways that we are treating our students.
That's time.
Despite their records matters as well.
Okay, thanks. Robert Edwards, how good a job is CMS doing on safety, and what could it do better?
Okay, I believe that CMS is doing an okay job in the area, and of course, being in the school, working for the school that I firsthand, and the school that I'm located. I know I'm located at one of the Title I schools in Charlotte. So, and I know that safety is one of the things that I believe is an ongoing thing that really needs to be evaluated consistently, where policies need to be updated consistently, where the principals and teacher faculty members need to be reporting on a consistent basis on safety measures. I believe that monthly things should be put into place where that the Board of Education should be able to evaluate to make sure that things are aligned accordingly and that students are safe, parents are confident that their children are being sent to the school and being safe. So I believe there should be an ongoing situation in that area. I believe that with our particular school, that I know we do consistent drills to make sure that the students are understanding what needs to be done and how what they need to do, what needs to be done in certain situations, scenarios. So, but I believe there's an ongoing, continuous effort that should go on beyond with just saying that we need to be safe in schools.
Okay, thank you. And Stephanie Sneed, you've been on the board the last few years, or the CMS board chair. How would you evaluate the job that CMS is doing in keeping students safe, and what more is there to do?
So thank you for that question. So again, so I'm happy that, folks are attending our safety summit so we can know actually what is happening at CMS schools. The first thing is that the notification to our parents has been revised, and it is extensive on the type of notification that they receive. The second thing is that in terms of discipline, we do see the discipline evaluation. We do see the disciplines, what type of discipline has been issued. These are things that we talk about at every meeting. In addition to serving on to serving as the adjudicator for disciplines for long-term suspensions and expulsions, or moving to other institutions like Turning Point, which in those places that there is additional support. We have partnerships with CMPD, as well as our own counselors, in addition, for the support of those children that have been victims or aggressors. The other thing is, and when I talk about this is data that is on our Department of Public Instruction that you can see from the state. And we have exponentially reduced the number of serious incidents that have happened in CMS schools. Is it perfect? No. As you mentioned, there are 141,000 students, so it is an ever evolving improvement.
Okay, thank you. Glenn, do you want to take the next question?
Yes, please. Much has been written nationally about the fact that fewer Black boys are going on to college. What can CMS do to address that issue?
All right, we'll start with Robert Edwards.
Yeah, I believe that CMS could address that issue by, of course, partnerships, establishing mentor programs to ensure that these young men are gathering the necessary skills and knowledge to be successful beyond high school and while in high school. In my experience, I believe that in higher education, we had programs that was in place, and I was part of that committee as well, where we had made sure that we ensured that students, when they came into the program, that they had the necessary information that was needed so they can stay focused. I believe that there needs to more information or things should be put in place where that would involve families, to get them involved and to be a part of that process as well. And like I said, that partnering with local mentoring programs to make sure that to help to guide the students into the direction that they need to go. So yeah.
Okay. Stephanie Sneed.
So this is something that we're monitoring. I mean, one of our goal of our board is which I say that I particularly championed is making sure our students are employed, enrolled, or enlisted when they leave the CMS system. However, one of the guardrails is that they cannot forsake looking at how it breaks down on where students are going by socioeconomic class and race. So one of the things that we can do, the number one thing we can do is make sure that they have all students, including Black boys, have the skills and filling those gaps that are needed. Meaning, in order to attend college, you have to have the basics in order to do that. The reading, math, in those areas, we have to strengthen that to make sure we're closing those gaps and filling whatever needs those are. And that is something we can do because now we have specific goals and we can monitor them. And that is something that we see in our monthly reporting.
Jillian King.
So one of the first things we can
You're breaking up a little bit.
Jillian, you're breaking up.
Taking a look, they're being implemented. Oh no, ensuring that they're.
Go ahead.
Is it? Am I
Sounds
back?
a little better now. Go ahead.
Hello. Okay, gotcha. Ensuring that the equity policies that we do have in place are being implemented with fidelity and holding people accountable for that. One of the things that we have not had a report on is an equity policy that requires reporting every year. And every year we've had community members ask, where is this report? Where is this report? And the answer is always like, oh, it's been a busy year, new superintendent. And it's just always too busy for equity. I don't think so. So holding people accountable to the equity policies. And then also I like the idea of mentor programs. That's great. I think there are a lot of free available community programs that we can be bringing into our schools. And lastly, representation matters. So making sure that our curriculums and our materials are reflecting all kinds of people, including our Black boys and girls and Latino community and everyone. Everyone should be reflected in our curriculums. And I don't know why DEI and critical race theory and all these things have become these bad words when they are some of the most important things that we could be implementing in our schools.
Okay, thank you. And we're just about out of time. We'll ask each of you just to spend 30 seconds, give us the final pitch when people enter the voting booth, why they should cast the vote for you. We'll start with Stephanie Sneed.
So I do want to respond. I understand that Carol Sawyer had an issue or a concern that she may have communicated to my opponent about the equity reports, but the specific reasons has been given of the delay in that. In addition to the fact that every board meeting is an equity report. Because every board meeting, we see the outcomes and performance of the students. So that's what I'm saying is it's important to know the facts and understand how the board works and understand that we know specifically where our students are going and that we have a driver because we have the representation of the board that is concerned specifically about closing achievement gaps.
All right, thanks. Jillian King.
Anyway, why you should vote for me is because I have the teaching experience, the boots on the ground. I have a master's in education, and I do know the facts, and I refuse to accept that this is the way things are as the answer because it's never going to just be the way things are if it could be better with Jillian King. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. And then final word goes to Robert Edwards, why people should vote for you.
When people go to the voting booth, I believe that if they're looking for someone that really understands students, that's passionate about the students' needs, and of course there's someone that's willing to listen to them and advocate for them about what they want and what their needs are, and that someone that I can guarantee that I will be that person to put whenever decisions are being made, that their concerns or voices will be in the forefront of all decisions and policy making. And then also too, that I am a person that's forward thinking. I'm a type of person that I don't think now. I always think ahead 5, 10, 3, gears ahead of the game to try to plan accordingly. And I always think with the end in mind to ensure that we got that whatever decision that's made is going to be successful. And of course, look for all the loopholes.
Great. Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And thank you for the discussion. This has been District 4, which is East Charlotte. 3 candidates, Stephanie Sneed, Jillian King, and Robert Edwards. We're going to go ahead and move along to District 5. If those candidates could go ahead and turn on their videos and audio. And District 5 is the one in the pinkish red there. It's a South Charlotte district. You see it also includes Matthews. So this is a 2-candidate race. We have Lisa Cline, who is the incumbent. She's being challenged by Cynthia Stone. Why don't we go ahead and if each of you could take a minute and explain who you are, why you're running, and what sets you apart. We'll start with Lisa Cline.
Good evening. Thank you for the invitation from everyone. I'm Lisa Cline. I have 45 years of actually enjoying my passion, which is education. I taught in other states prior to coming to Charlotte in 1990, where I began my career at Water Oak, which is the mental health hospital part of Atrium Health. I am a parent. I was a parent of Old Providence, Carmel, and Myers Park High School. I served on all 3 PTAs. I was a Boy Scout leader, a Girl Scout leader, while I was also teaching at Smith Middle School, and moved my way up and ended up as an administrator. I spent most of my time in District 2 as an administrator, but I retired at Audrey Kell High School in 2019. During COVID, I came back and saw what was needed. I was working with pods and saw the decline in education, worked with children K through 12, have immense respect for elementary school teachers because most of my career was on the middle and high school. I still work with students as needed in the community.
All right. Thank you. Cynthia Stone, why don't you take a minute, tell us who you are, why you're running, and what sets you apart.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Stone, seeking District 5 School Board. I'm a former student, a parent, and most recently a retired elementary school teacher in December 2023. So I got to teach elementary school during COVID. So this Zoom thing is real familiar to me. I came back to education after a 25-year gap because I believe education is the key to eradicating poverty, period. And I also believe that for me, education happens in a classroom with kids. You know, I've got some goals and some ideas, particularly coming from the experience I had as an elementary teacher. I noticed that children who had disruptive behaviors were typically also challenged with some mental health issues. If we get to the point where we can address or identify and address those issues early, we mitigate later problems. If we support our teachers by
It's time.
just by recruiting and just have to stop. Okay.
Thank you. Glenn, why don't you take the first question?
Yes, in the private sector, organizations that underperform typically aren't around very long. Would you support tying county funding to results at CMS? And if not, why not?
We'll start with Cynthia Stone.
There's an interesting question because you've got 2 different entities with totally different goals. And the success measurements in corporate are vastly different than the success measurements in a school district. We have an obligation by the state to fulfill and provide a quality education to every kid in this state. I take that very seriously. In corporate, you have control of your outcomes. As an educator, I couldn't control who was coming into my classroom, how their parents were involved, who their family histories, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, what educational experience they'd had up to that point. So to put a comparison like that is really doesn't seem realistic to me, because to me, education is the obligation of society, whereas corporate America, they can take care of themselves pretty well. Trust me, I know. But you're right. So we do have challenges, and we need to be held accountable in how we're meeting those challenges. And I think we're doing a pretty good job.
All right. Thank you. Lisa Cline?
Well, we all know that I like to hold people accountable for the way we spend money. We have an obligation as taxpayers to support the schools. But as educators and as a school board, we have an obligation to hold the school system accountable for how they spend their money. I'm not saying take away the money as you would in corporate, because again, you cannot control what is in your classroom, but we can control what is spent and how it's spent. So yes, I think we have to look at that, work more closely with the county commission, because most of our funding comes from that. That is where people forget that the state and the county are the two entities that we get our monies from. And we have to show how we're improving. We have improved tremendously this past year. Have we gotten the raises that match that tremendous growth? No. So that itself tells us something there. So I think better communication and better evaluations of our goals.
Yeah, I have a question. It's sort of a follow-up to Glenn's question, which is, like you said, you don't really control your budget, but you don't really control where the money's coming from. The Board of Education has to go every year to the county commission, hat in hand, saying, I hope you give me everything that we think we need. You're dependent on the state for teacher pay. There's, money coming from the federal government. At a time when some of that federal money might be drying up and the state isn't giving everything that you want for teacher pay, and the county commission doesn't always fully fund what you think the needs are, how would you advocate? What more can you do besides having just good communication with those entities? What can you do to make sure that CMS has the resources that it needs? And we'll start with Lisa Cline.
I think our relationship with the state, I have gone and talked with our representatives in Raleigh. I think, remember, we only get about 8% from the federal government. And I did go to DC, met with people who are with our state, but Raleigh is our big group. And they haven't voted. And I actually spoke with a legislator the other day and I said, when are you going to do it? And I've got the runaround. And we have to build that rapport where we can say, enough. You have to help CMS. You have to help the state. We are just one county in this massive state who needs the money for the teachers. So building that rapport and building that comfort level where we can have those blunt conversations. We have it with the county commission. We meet with the county commission. So again, it's building the relationships, those crucial conversations that we have with the state will help us.
Okay, Cynthia Stone.
I agree with everything Lisa said as far as that goes. So I'm not going to reiterate what she so eloquently put out there, but I also believe that it's incumbent on the board, because they do have a budget oversight role. So to look at departmental budgets, supply budgets, all kinds of things. When I was in the classroom, the school kids are expected to bring their own supplies. In my classroom, we use community supplies, and I didn't let them bring in new supplies until we had exhausted everything. So don't bring a new notebook or a composition book every year. Just finish the one you had from last year. Let's do what we need to do to make things equitable in the classroom, but also looking at where we're supplying schools and what we're providing to the schools, and are those materials being used effectively and shared equitably across the district. So I got my tires slashed one time because I cut a contract at a company I was working for. So I can be pretty hard-nosed when it comes to money, but I'm also a teacher. And recognize the needs of classroom teachers in that sense. So
okay,
I'm a very pragmatic person about that.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks. I know it's been a short time and only a few questions, but we'll just end with the one we've been asking everybody else, and we'll start with Lisa Cline. If you could just take 30 seconds, give us the final pitch on why people should vote for you.
Thanks, everyone. I'm running for re-election because after 3 years, we're just now getting things started. We are on an upward trend. I want to complete and continue to work that goal that we have set for ourselves with our SOFGs and our goals and guardrails. So I ask those questions. I use a lot of common sense and everything, and I am always open to my constituents. They know how to get a hold of me and know that I will fight for their needs. So thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity, everyone.
Okay, thank you. And the final word will go to Cynthia Stone, 30 seconds, just making that final pitch on why people should vote for you.
My background is unique. Elementary education is not very well represented on the school board, and we have a whole different set of concerns at that level. So the voice is important, collaborative, engaged, and very passionate about what education is designed and the purpose that it serves. So I can appreciate a lot of different experiences and see how they all need to come together. And also I work very well with people. So that's always been a key to any project or anything I've ever undertaken. So I would have certainly approached working on the board in the same sense. So thank you for presenting the opportunity. Thanks.
Well, thank you both, Cynthia Stone and Lisa Cline. We appreciate it. That was District 5, which is South Charlotte and Matthews. If you want more information on District 5 and the other school board districts and city and town races, you can go to theelectionhub.org, and it's got all kinds of information. We'll go ahead and move on now to the final one of the night, which is District 6. District 6 is in yellow there on your screen. You'll see it is South Charlotte, but it's more Ray Farms, Ballantyne, Steel Creek. This is an open seat. The incumbent here, Summer Nunn, decided not to run for re-election. Let's see, Lisa Cline, who is that? Somebody was making some noise. The incumbent, Summer Nunn, is not running for re-election. There are 3 candidates: Anna London, Toni Emehel, and Justin Shealy. So if you could just all please turn on your videos, turn on your mics, we'll go ahead and get started. And if you, as we've done in the other races, we'll go ahead and just, if you could please take a minute and just say who you are, why you're running, and what sets you apart. We'll start with Anna London.
Awesome. Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity and for the opportunity to participate in this forum. So I am a former educator. I was a teacher. I started my career in teaching 16 years ago while I was finishing a master's in counseling. Then I did crisis intervention and behavioral health for a few years. And then for the last 11 years, I have dedicated my life and my work to strengthening this community, Charlotte-Mecklenburg, in education and workforce. I am a proud product of this community. I am also a proud product of public schools and public education. My 3 main priorities are making sure that every single student is prepared for life after graduation. And I mean that in achievement and closing achievement gaps. So making sure that students are prepared for college, career, and or the military, or a combination of those. I believe in building back trust with the community. When I was growing up here, the community trusted and believed in our public schools. And so I believe in building back trust through clear, consistent, transparent communication, and making sure that our educators are supported and that our families feel like a partner in their students' education. And then also fighting for fully funded public schools and higher teacher pay.
Okay, thank you. Toni Emehel, if you could take a minute, introduce yourself, who you are, why you're running, and what sets you apart.
Well, I'm Toni Emehel, and you can learn more about me and my platform by logging on to aimhighwithtoni.com. And I am not new to the advocacy of students and children. I began my education in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. I have graduated 3 children through Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, and I currently have 3 grandchildren in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, 2 of which are students in District 6. If you were to ask me 6 months ago, would I be a candidate for school board? I probably would have told you no, because this was not on my radar to do. But I do know that there is a need for someone to fill this seat that has children and student outcomes as the central focus of their candidacy. So again, I'm Toni Emehel. You can log on to aimhighwithtoni.com for additional information on the platform that I may not have the time to really get into on this evening.
All right, thank you. Justin Shealy, if you could take a minute, introduce yourself, who you are, why you're running, and what sets you apart.
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Justin Shealy. I'm running because I believe that Charlotte Mecklenburg families want strong academics, they want safe campuses, and they want honest communication from their leaders on the board. I'm a family law attorney by trade, and I've built my career helping families through difficult situations. And I listen carefully, I find common ground, and I advocate for what's in the best interest of children every day. What sets me apart is my ability to stay calm under pressure, focus on solutions rather than opinions or politics, and make decisions that are based on facts. I understand how policy decisions affect families at the ground level, and I'll bring that practical perspective to the board. My goal is simple, is to restore trust, raise expectations, and ensure that every child in CMS has the opportunity to succeed. Thank you.
All right, thanks. I'll take the first question. It's about staff and teacher turnover. How good a job do you think has CMS done in making sure there's stability of educators and administrators? And what can CMS do in order to make sure that we have qualified teachers in the classroom and hang on to them? We'll go ahead and start with Toni Emehel.
Well, I believe that this is one of the first years where they have had more positions filled. Their field rate has been pretty substantial compared to previous years, especially coming off of COVID. I think that when it comes to how the school system can maintain its pool of quality teachers, it all boils down to actually making sure that the words that come out of our mouths about respecting and honoring and supporting teachers is what we're actually doing. The best way to see whether or not we're doing that as a school system is to look at the budget. Where are our funds going? And teachers need to walk into these classrooms feeling the full support, feeling the wraparound services and support services that they need. We need to look at our policies with regard to barriers that may keep parents from being involved, or community partners that are indigenous to the community where the school is located. So I believe that all of those things together, if we could improve in those areas, would be more supportive to our teachers and retaining them in their positions.
Okay. Thank you. Justin Shealy, how good a job is CMS doing on staff and administrator turnover, and what can CMS do to ensure stability and qualified educators in the classroom?
Yeah, I think part of the problem is outside of CMS's control, and that's teacher compensation. CMS has fought for raises for our teachers, but unfortunately the state legislature is having disagreements about the amount of the raises. So I think compensation is a big issue, and I don't think that that's something CMS necessarily controls. But one thing I do think that they could do better is to strengthen support for our teachers that are early in their career by providing a level of mentorship from older, more experienced teachers to help them overcome the hurdles of being early in their career, and helping them to get over that hump to not get burnout so quickly in their career. But overall, I think, as Toni said, we have decreased the amount of open positions, and I think that CMS has done a good job there, and hopefully they can continue to do so.
Anna London, same question to you. How is CMS doing on turnover, and what can it do better to ensure qualified educators are in the classroom and stay there?
Sure. So I think the most recent statistic was that Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools had a 99% fill rate for educators and staff. And I believe that it starts at the top. So it starts at the superintendent level and at the cabinet level. And, as has been mentioned, a lot throughout this forum is Dr. Hill has provided a lot of consistency and stability. And so I believe that the strategies, the team that she has put in place has encouraged or led the CMS to this 99% fill rate. I agree with, some of the things that have already been shared, that teachers and educators and staff, they all need to feel valued in the school system and internally in the culture, but then also in the community. And so I do believe that there are ways and there are opportunities to have the community be more engaged. And over the last couple of years, under the current school board, as well as Dr. Hill and her leadership, CMS has a lot more credibility in the community. And so I think that there are ways for us to continue to pull in public-private partnerships above and beyond, higher teacher pay. I wholeheartedly agree with the compensation statement that, we can only fight the state but so much, but we can value them and provide support and professional development.
Okay, thank you. Glenn Burkins of QCity Metro, you got the next question.
Thank you, Toni. More and more parents are evaluating CMS by enrolling their students in charter schools. Where do you think this is leading us? I'm going to ask you to put on your to gaze into your crystal ball, if you will. Where do you think this is leading us, and what should the district prepare for that future?
Justin Shealy.
Absolutely. I think that parents do have the right to choose what's best for their children. Unfortunately, a lot of parents right now are skeptical of CMS, and they're choosing charter schools and private schools and homeschooling as an alternative option. What we have to do as a board is continue to show them that CMS should be the option for them. It should be the choice. And we do that by continuing this growth of our academic outcomes for our students, by improving student outcomes, parents, and of course, increasing transparency and accountability with our parents that are in the system will go even further to help those parents that are on the fence about enrolling their kids in CMS to make them feel more comfortable that CMS is the choice for them.
Okay, Anna London, what questions, what can CMS do amid parental choices of charter schools, private schools, and what can it do to build that trust?
Yeah, so I do think that CMS, there's opportunity for CMS to do a better job of sharing the successes. Of course, continuing with progress around achievement. We saw historic gains. We have a long way to go. And so that achievement needs to continue. But I think that CMS could also do a better job of sharing about the successes that they already have. It's also a proven fact that Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools public education provides more opportunities for students in middle and high school above and beyond what charter schools do, because public education is required to provide opportunities. And so, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, it is a fact. There is information out there that shows that CMS provides more opportunity and access to opportunity to ensure that students really are prepared for life after graduation. And if you look at the data and the statistics and test scores, I think we just haven't done a great job of sharing the success, but charter schools do not consistently show higher test scores. And so I believe the opportunity is for CMS to do a better job of sharing the success, sharing the excellent programs and the opportunities that are available to students and families.
Toni, Emehel?
I believe the key lies in making sure that we rebuild the public trust through honest communication and by owning the results. And even though we've had some great strides with exceeding the growth that we've seen in the past, 54.7% of our students in grades 3 through 8, only 54.7% were able to meet or exceed that level of literacy in reading. And if we look at the 10-point grading scale that CMS schools uses for its students, if the district were in that seat, that would be 60% or below, which is an F grade. So until we can up those scores by being sure that we are truly providing and prioritizing a high quality education for our students, all students should be performing at a higher level. Even when we look at math, the math scores, 59.2% of students were proficient in math, and that's a failing grade. So we have to restore and rebuild trust through the numbers and the performance of our students.
Okay, thank you. And then final question of the night, just for each of you, as we've been doing on the other districts, if you could just please take 30 seconds, make that final pitch about why voters, when they enter the voting booth, should vote for you. We'll go ahead and start with Anna London.
Sure. So again, Anna London, and I am running for District 6. My website is www.londonforeducation.com, and I would be honored to earn your vote and your support. I am a proven results-driven leader. I am a community leader. I bring both lived and work experience to this role. I have led complex organizations. I have managed large, complex, highly regulated budgets and boards. I bring board governance experience. And so I bring classroom experience as well as professional experience to this role. And I would be honored to receive your vote. Again, Anna London, District 6, londonforeducation.com.
Thank you. Toni Emehel, why should people vote for you?
I would say firstly, because I am a parent. I currently have students within CMS. I have volunteered for 19 consistent years with CMS. I don't have any competing priorities like my opponents do, one being the president and CEO of Charlotte Works, and the other being a full-time attorney in his profession. Charlotte is outdone with potential scandals and things that politicians do to get seats and then don't deliver once they are in office. My concern and my focus is student focused. I have one opponent that has a corporate focus and another opponent that has not denounced their acceptance or denial of the effort to dismantle education. So again, visit my website, aimhighwithtoni.com, to learn more about my platform and all those things that I bring to the table that's student-centric focused for improved student outcomes in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District.
Okay, Justin Shealy, why should people vote for you?
People should vote for me because I am focused on restoring trust and accountability to our public school system and a common sense approach to our school board. I've spent my career advocating for the best interest of children and families who are going through difficult times. I believe that our schools should be a safe place for our children to learn, be challenged academically, and prepared for real world success. I'm not running to push an agenda. I'm running to make sure every student has access to a strong education. To directly approach what was just said about me and my opponent, I don't believe that our employment has any hindrance or impact on our ability to do our job as a board member. Multiple board members on the board now are currently employed, and it does not impact their approach to their service on the board. And I do not support the defunding of public education. I never have. And the link on my opponent's website does not implicate me in any way as to whether I denounce or support defunding our public education system. Thank you.
All right. And Anna London, since you were mentioned by Toni there, I want to give you 15 seconds. Do you have any response to what she said about potential conflicts?
Sure, there is no conflict of interest. There's nothing unethical about me running as a candidate or serving on the school board and continuing to serve as the president and CEO. And it has been proven and referenced, multiple times that actually understanding, being a proven results-oriented leader and understanding workforce development, being a community leader would actually add a lot of value to this school board. So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. So this has been the District 6 discussion of South Charlotte, Steel Creek area. Thank you to all the candidates. who participated tonight. You can find out more about all of the candidates at theelectionhub.org. We will have another forum on Thursday night with Charlotte City Council candidates, and appreciate everybody tuning in and everyone who participated. And thank you, Glenn, for helping ask some questions tonight. And thank you to Charlitta Kadali and Bree Chrisman for for their work making this happen as well. Thanks a lot and good night.